Hey everyone, Alex here with a different kind of video than usual. Different as in, sorry, it's probably not going to be as funny as my usual ones because this is for a university presentation. But bear with me because you might find it interesting or laugh at something I say or do. So, anime and manga are two very popular forms of, well, Japanese popular culture, and its reach has slowly grown out, and now it's enjoyed on a global scale. No matter how young or old you are, or even where you're from, it's still appreciated, consumed, and it even brings people together. I'll save the history lesson for another time. Well, let's be honest, that history lesson's never going to come, but it's good to know that anime and manga really started to blossom after World War II, until it slowly made its way out of Japan and became as big as it is today. And in the past 20 years or so, it's become very popular, sparking various different offshoots and interests and subcultures. But all that aside, that's not what I'm here to talk about today. Today, we're going to be talking about cosplay. Cosplay is a term that was coined in 1984, which is essentially costume and play mashed together to create cosplay. It's essentially what older folk and me when I was a youngster would call fancy dress, but cosplay sounds way cooler than fancy dress, and calling it costume play sounds really weird. It's mainly based around anime, manga, comic, and film characters, however it pretty much extends to absolutely anything you can think of or create. I've seen some really interesting costumes when I've been to conventions myself, and I mean at its core it's fun, creative, challenging, and rewarding. So, moving on. Cosplay has grown alongside of anime and manga as a subculture, though you could definitely argue that it has now become a culture in of itself. Within Japan, cosplay is used by individuals to express themselves in different ways, and to also get some form of escapism from the drag of everyday working life. On a smaller scale, Tokyo is often referred to as the go-to place for cosplay, as well as for cosplayers. Within the prefecture, there are many places and events that one can go to engage with this form of pop culture. From shopping, events, and gatherings, Tokyo acts as a good hub for anyone who is interested who participates in cosplay, be it a beginner, amateur, or professional. Though there are some rules and etiquette in doing so. Most events prohibit being in cosplay whilst travelling to and from the venue, and even have specified areas and times in which you can gather to take photos, which is very unlike over here in the UK. You just get some weird looks. Also, you've got to make sure you ask permission if you can take a photo with somebody in cosplay, just like over here too. They might not want their photo taken, and it's very rude and inappropriate if you don't ask. It's also an unwritten rule not to wear cosplay on public transportation, as not to disturb the other passengers, kind of like when someone's listening to their music too loudly. It's perceived as being inconsiderate and antisocial, which is why you'd often see people with one or two suitcases full of cosplay gear when events on. Twice a year, usually at Tokyo's International Exhibition Centre, Comiket is held. This is one of the more well-known events that focuses on the sale of self-published works. Over the course of this 3-day event, it can see over 500,000 people walk through its doors, with a large proportion of them there to also participate in cosplay. You often see cosplayers chatting with each other, or being surrounded by a horde of people with cameras, which, I'll be honest, is kind of a good feeling. When you put that much time and effort into a costume and then people ask for your photo, it makes you feel like you've done a really good job. The size of this event makes it a great place for aspiring and professional cosplayers, as I imagine it's a great place to build your reputation and to get your name out there. Sites like Instagram and TikTok also help with this, though it may be a little harder if you're trying to connect with like-minded cosplayers, given the amount of people, but it's still worth asking for their socials or even a business card. Other yearly events include Tokyo Game Show, Jump Festa, and Anime Japan. From the names of these events, it's easy to see how cosplay began as a subculture from video games, anime and manga, and even film. But due to the increase in scale of these events and the increase in people who turn up to them in costume, it's also obvious to see how it became an attraction of its own. Tokyo is also home to numerous districts with well-known areas for people who are into cosplay and the like. Akihabara, Ikebukuro are great for shopping, but Harajuku is the hub for fashion, with numerous fashion stores lining the streets. People in this district are often very expressive with the way they dress, from dekorake, Harajuku punk, and of course, cosplay. If you want to meet other cosplayers in Harajuku, a good place to start would be on Takeshita Street, where every Sunday, Japan's youth gather dressed in their own styles. And finally, like I said earlier, cosplay in Tokyo, like anywhere, is used as a form of escapism. It's well known that some Japanese companies work their employees to the bone, with some of them sleeping in their desks, and even in extreme cases dying from over-exhaustion, work, and stress. In cities and conditions like this, cosplay allows people to become someone else for a short while, imagining what it would be like being in a completely different world, but overall helping people to relax. I believe the main goal of cosplay is to serve as a platform to build friendships and connections with others through similar passions, and if anything else, it's a really interesting talking point. So that's pretty much it for this presentation. Thank you very much for watching. I hope it's been kind of informative. And yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
NANI?!